Aquaman has been the butt of jokes for years, while also being one of the strongest heroes in the DC universe and a mainstay of the core Justice League lineup, but still just gets put in the box of the guy that talks to fish. Over the years, we've seen a multitude of Aquaman iterations. We've had family-friendly, gritty, 1960s, one made out of plastic bricks, but before Jason Momoa brought the character the respect he deserved, there was one other live-action appearance. No, not that one, but he's great too. God, I love Smallville. Way back in 2005, before everything was in a cinematic universe, before the CW only made spin-offs of spin-offs of spin-offs, before the CW, the hit WB show and one of my all-time favorite series, Smallville, was in its 5th season. And after the premiere of the season's highest-rated episode, Aqua, which introduced Alan Ritchson as Aquaman to the show's version of the Dudes in Jacket Squad, I meant the Justice League, while working on this episode, Smallville creators Al Gough and Miles Miller saw that the Aquaman character had the potential to carry a great story of his own, and quickly got to work on the idea. When it came down to casting, they decided Alan Ritchson wouldn't be the lead to keep the series separate from the adventures of Clark Kent. My assumption is, they opted out of the spin-off due to the fact that unlike now, when the majority of the CW's programming is spin-offs, in the early 2000s, spin-offs typically flopped, and on average lasted a single season or less. So, Justin Hartley was chosen to fill those incredibly uncomfortable water shoes of Aquaman. With the lead cast, production on the pilot was started with a 13-episode season planned. But sadly, after the merger of the WB and UPN, they created the Hot 30-Year-Olds Pretending to be High Schoolers channel, or the CW as it's more widely known. The show wasn't picked up, with only the pilot being produced. Sadly, this was the end for the Aquaman series, and with its demise, Justin Hartley was brought into Smallville for the next season to play a different hero, Oliver Queen, who later became a major character in the series after the best Lex Luthor actor of all time, Michael Rosenbaum, left in Season 7. Many shows never make it past the pilot, and most pilots don't ever get to see the light of day. But luckily, Gough and Miller loved the pilot so much that they later got it released on iTunes in July of 2006, and it can still be purchased across multiple online stores. The episode will only cost you $2 for standard definition. I'm a little bougie, so I went with the $3 HD version. Through digital stores, the show is called Aquaman. But like Smallville, it's rumored that the series would be named after a location in Aquaman lore, Mercy Reef. And people still call it this despite its label on all storefronts, and you're free to call it whatever you'd like. But today, I'll be talking about Aquaman. The pilot opens with a young Arthur Curry and his mother Atlanta flying over the Bermuda Triangle from an expedition. While talking to her Coast Guard husband, Tom Curry, played by Lou Diamond Phillips, a beam of light shoots up from the ocean and crashes the plane into the water. Atlanta helps Arthur escape, but is taken by a monster. Arthur is then saved by either the world's smallest whale, or he became 40 feet tall like he's a growing water dinosaur. After this, the show springs forward 10 years into the future to follow an adult AC who is a diving instructor and runs a beachside restaurant bar with his friend Eva, and he does all this while living on a boat called the Quint, docked just off the restaurant in Tempest Keys, Florida. The pilot introduces a slew of original characters in true CW fashion, like Eva, Lieutenant Rachel Torres, Agent Brigman, and McCaffrey, that would all take on much bigger roles if the show had went to series. Assuming from what details are given in the pilot, Eva seems like she'd take on the role of the best friend and possible love interest, always giving AC a second chance and going with the absurdity of a man that can feel fish calling to him. Lieutenant Torres would take the Lois Lane route and would spend her time trying to connect the dots that AC is Aquaman. Agent Brigman would be the government authority trying to expose AC and all of Atlantis, while McCaffrey, who is revealed to be an Atlantean, would become Arthur's mentor and teach him how to use his Atlantean powers. This episode takes us through Arthur's origins and his introduction to Atlantis, along with how he meets all of these characters outside of Eva, who appears to have known AC for a very long time. He meets McCaffrey at his restaurant bar job, with McCaffrey seeming to know a lot about his mother's accident, but is quickly brushed off because swimming. Arthur is swimming in the Bermuda Triangle when Torres is sent to investigate the site, after a strange man with no identity is rescued from the area. The same beam of light that crashed AC's mom's plane years ago reappears and crashes Torres' plane. Arthur saves her and takes her to a nearby hospital, where his necklace starts to glow because of the John Doe found earlier, which takes us to our introduction to Agent Brigman, who takes the Atlantean man away. While walking through the hospital before, a woman sees Arthur and follows him back to the restaurant bar and convinces AC to swim with her far away from the bar This is where she reveals that she's actually a siren sent to kill Arthur. Luckily, McCaffrey saves the day with a well-placed harpoon, because people that live in lighthouses have those, and our hero escapes with just a couple of large cuts across his chest that quickly disappear. This is where Arthur learns of Atlantis, and McCaffrey being one of his kind. So he heads back to the one set this show has, his job, to get Eva to leave town. But before they can leave, they're attacked by Nadia the Siren, where Eva is killed and Arthur is captured. But don't worry, she doesn't die. They need to actually have somebody that works at the bar straw. We are then taken to the final showdown of the episode, on the Quint in a storm, with AC and McCaffrey captured. But Nadia makes a massive mistake and leaves McCaffrey with a flask of water in his boot. They then smash it to cut the ropes so Arthur can pour a whole pitcher of water on himself for power. Can't make this stuff up. This garbage is why people make fun of Aquaman. But we do get this awesome shot of Aquaman hero landing on the boat and using McCaffrey's harpoon as a tiny trident to defeat Nadia. Now, as ridiculous as this show can be at times, it never hits points as goofy as Smallville, like in the second episode when the bug guy flies down the road to the tune of Papa Roach's Last Resort.
Cut my life into pieces. This is Plastic Farm.
The CW shows today still do stuff this can't be, because these shows are about superheroes. People with special abilities that wear underwear over their pants, but are somehow still able to carry stories that cover topics like gun control, racism, and police brutality. Superheroes are incredible, and I'd be lying if I said this show didn't hook me from its first shot of a glowing seahorse necklace. And I definitely need to see where Mercy Reef or Aquaman would have went with stories about evil oil companies and pollution. But I also wouldn't want to live in a world without Justin Hartley's Green Arrow performance. Wearing the suit that inspired the look of Green Arrow in possibly my all-time favorite comic run, the New 52 Green Arrow The Kill Machine. Of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. A lot of lifelong comic book fans aren't dedicated to the Arrowverse's 5 shows a week like I am. But if you are, there's a subscribe button located below this video. You can click that for updates on when I cover those and other comic book media in the future. Go watch Aquaman.